So if you had to quickly summarize before where you were before our last session versus where you're feeling now, because we're going to keep going, right? We've got some more stuff to work through. Where would you say you
Uh,
were before the last session in a couple of lines
yeah.
versus now?
So there's a really good book by Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art. If you've never read it, please do. And he talks about this concept called resistance. I felt very heavy. I felt like resistance was everywhere. Um, I did feel very anxious. My sleep was pretty average, and I felt very undeserving of, I guess, the commission, the work, even just clients coming to me. I felt like I wasn't like an expert or a professional. Um, and then after the session, I think I told message you the night of. I was like, dude, I can't sleep. I got so much energy, and this is ridiculous. And it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm usually in bed by 10, by the way. And I was like, what is happening? And then like my work was very productive for the next 2 days. Like I've done a ton of work in the last 2 days. Um, I feel very content. I don't feel very anxious around my work. I feel like a professional, and I see myself as a professional. I mean, granted, I'm sitting here with no shirt on, but within reason, right? Like it's hot, um, and not everyone needs to see my face all the time. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is I just feel deserving and light, right? Like, yeah, and I feel like there's resistance, but it's a lot. I can just kind of push through it now, whereas before, like it felt like there was a lot. I legit wanted to talk to you about this. I feel more focused. I feel more lighter. I feel more deserving. Like just in my work, um, it's gotten a lot busier. Like it's gone from being like busy to like now I'm managing contracts, two offers, and I feel like, oh, cool, this is all part of the work I've put in. Whereas before I'd be like, oh, these people aren't going to like me. Like, oh, am I really deserving of this commission? And like that would always be the friction point. Whereas like now it's like, oh no, this is all part of the work I've put in, and I'm really proud of the work I've put in. And I was like, oh, that's a really interesting story that we've given ourselves. And I noticed the shift yesterday actually, because I did a lot of work yesterday, plus fixing my car and other stuff. And I was like, oh, and I was driving the work van I was in, and I was like, oh, I'm not questioning myself at the moment. I'm like, oh yeah, this is meant to happen. Great, I can't wait to sell this business, and I can't wait to get the commission. And I was like, that's a vast change from a week ago. Like that's a real shift. And I sit in the car, and I was actually really like taken back by it. Which, by the way, don't do that in a car because when you disassociate when you're driving a car, it's quite dangerous. But um, was amazing, and I was like, okay, this is really special. Um, yeah, and I just felt I don't know, I felt very deserving, which was nice for a change. Just to
So from
nice.
one session so far that we've done, because
Yeah,
our other sessions before this have been like identifying the root cause of
yeah,
the emotional challenges and self-worth issues, etc.,
yeah,
that you've been battling with. So from one session that we did, and we're going to do another session now,
yay,
uh, we're going to keep going with this, man. But from one session, what I'm hearing you say is you feel worthy of the money that you're receiving. You actually see yourself as worthy in the role that you're in with your business, and you feel worthy of getting clients. Is that right? And actually doing the work for
yes,
clients?
yes, yeah. Like I feel it's like there's a level of self competency that's come about. So I wouldn't say there's no doubt because I think there's always a level of doubt, and I think that's what pushes people to be really good at their roles and their jobs. But it's like there is this it's like there's a genuine self belief there. Like it's been there, but there's always been like this kind of conflict, right? Of self belief and worthiness versus absolute doubt and unworthiness, and it's just they keep smashing heads, right?
And are you saying they're integrating now?
And now it feels like there's a bit more of alignment between the two, and it's like I can do this, yes you can, instead of I can do this, like no you fucking can't, and
So
it was
consciously, you're like, I can do this, but the unconscious mind of the past has been like, no,
and
you can't.
that's
Like,
what it feels like.
you don't have any proof.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's really crazy is the dreams I've had since. Like, uh, I've had dreams of meeting very rich and influential people who I've seen on Instagram. I've had dreams of like talking on stage to 150 brokers. It's been really weird. But before our session, I had a dream that I got stabbed. Right, and I was like, "Well, this is wild." And then we had our session. Yes, last night was the night I had a dream that I was like at this convention, and Mark Cuban speaking, and I'm sitting at a table with like all these super wealthy people, and they're talking to me and asking me questions about how to structure and sell businesses and do acquisitions and things. And I was like, this is kind of cool.
So you've ascended what we call in the DiMartini world a newer sphere or multiple newer spheres where you're playing with the giants, right? The
Yeah,
the peak of the industry. You
yeah,
see yourself there, is that right?
yeah. It was weird because I'm like, the end of my dream is me calling mum, like, mum, you never guess where I am right now. Like, I'm at this thing with Mark Cuban, and mum's like, who's Mark Cuban? I was like, Google him right now. And that was like the end of my dream, and my alarm goes off, and I was like, oh, I got to write that one down. That was freaky.
Whereas before, you didn't even feel worthy of a relationship, right? And
Bingo.
having an intimate partner and even the business, you felt like you weren't, good enough for what you do or worthy enough of getting clients and helping them, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Is that right?
correct. Um,
Fuck yeah.
and the craziest thing is too, like just since our session, like I've had one, two, a guy who I've been chasing for 5 months just to get a couple of documentations out of him to complete compliance. Sent them to me yesterday straight away. Oh, hey Jake, no problem. Sorry for the delay. Here's all the documentation. I was like, okay, cool, um, amazing. And then I got a phone call from another lead, which was a great lead. And then I've had another client who was very hard to get a hold of. His accountant actually reached out, like, "Hey mate, sorry, hasn't been in contact. He's been away for 4 weeks. He's running for your job on a call Monday to get this finalized and get the business listed." And I'm like, "What is happening?" Like,
So you've gone from not twiddling your thumbs or
no,
stressing over the situation in the
certainly not
business
twiddling my
to
thumbs,
no,
but
I
it's
know, I
like
know
now
you've
it's
been
just kind of
super busy.
it's aligning and it's just falling in place. And I go, "This is really cool." But the thing that is really getting me is there's not resistance to it. That's the big concept that's really got me. Is it's not a because before like a lot of things would come together and I would be anxious, stressed out. My sleep would be shocking. I would feel horrible. I'd drink like four. I'd usually drink two, maybe two coffees a day. I was drinking 4 and 5 cups of coffee a day just to kind of try and stay focused and stay in the zone, which is probably adding to the anxiety, right? But caffeine's my drug of choice. And it was just this real bad kind of slippery slope. So then I would like just pass off a deal to another. Oh, I can't handle it. I would pass these leads off, right?
So is it like you've accessed flow?
Yes, yeah, but it's like it's focused flow. Because sometimes when you're in flow, like you don't realize you're in flow. Whereas now it's like I'm very consciously aware of like, okay, these are the things I have to do, and this is what I have to do, and and it just ticks. Whereas before it was like I'd get in flow and then be like, oh, I've just been on flow in like the wrong thing for the last couple of hours that I should not have been doing. So it was like productive procrastination almost, if that makes
Nice.
sense. So
So
yeah, and
you feel like everything's going your way now from one session, from my
uh,
understanding.
it's everything, but I would definitely
In
say
in
there's
the
been.
business,
Oh
the
yes, yeah,
business side.
110%. Like I'm shocked and happy, but also content with how everything's gone. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is I'm very content with it. I'm not like, oh my God, it's way above my comfort zone. It's like, no, I can do this. It's a lot, but I can do it.
Handling things better.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not stressed about it. Okay, a little bit because at the moment I've got a settlement going through, which settlement time is always chaos. But aside from that, I wouldn't say it's like stressful. And even then, like I'm stressed but excited. I'm not like ripping my hair out going like, oh my God, this has got to get done. I'm like, hey guys, like we need this done like now. Can you please help me out? Like, let's get it moving.
All right, man. So we've just wrapped up our second session, right? How
Yeah.
are you feeling?
Um, feeling good. I need water. I've never cried so much in a very short period of time, but that's okay. It's interesting because what we think we need and what we actually need are usually two separate things, right? I actually learned that from Tony Robbins. It's like we, as business owners and I guess self-employed people, masquerade of like, oh, I need more leads, I need to close more deals, I need better sales, and all this other stuff that is surface level. But the reality is, it's we actually need to fix ourselves and get out of our own way. Well, fix, I guess, the unconscious, I guess, I would call them handbrakes, right? That are kind of sitting there and holding us back. Um, that's why I find the coaching space interesting because everyone's like, oh, I can help generate more sales, more leads, more this, more that. But no one's going around talking about hey, I can help fix broken human beings, because the reality is like we're all got these little things we need to fix, but no one wants to go around and say, hey, Dimitri, my internal belief system is really fucked right now, bro. I need your help. Like, no one's going to come to you with that, are they? Like, at some unconscious level, people know there's a disconnect, but until you actually sit down and start doing that work, you won't understand what that is. Like, even today, like some of the memories that came up, I was like, shit, I'd forgotten about that. I was like, oh, that's interesting that I still have that. There was one that I was very certain I knew I had, but the other, I think two or three, I was like, I forgot about this. Um, so yeah, I think it's not what I was expecting, but it's what I need. And I think that's the most important thing with coaching. And I think that's why you get coaches or people to help you in your business, right? Because it's, your perception is what you think you need, and then your perception is, well, actually, Jake, we're gonna go work on this over here. So buckle up, champ. All right, like that's why people hire coaches. Same with fitness, right? Like same concept, like you were talking about. You do running. It's like you think that, I need to do this and this and this, and then you go and hire a running coach. And it's like, oh, hey, we're actually doing zone 2 block training. You're like, shit, what's this, right? Like because they know what you need, but you don't know what you think you know what you need.
So you were saying that you wanted to sign up with me for the lead gen business
Yeah,
development side of stuff, and you're
yeah,
getting
because I saw your content and I was going like, oh, I could really do with more leads, because then like my closing rate at the moment is like around sort of 50%, 45, 50% on like on meetings. And I was like, that means I can get this many listings, and then if I can close 50% of those listings, I can make 250 grand in a year. And yeah, I was doing all the maths on it, right? And I was like, that's what I thought I needed, because I've seen your lead generation. I think it's fantastic. I think you're very authentic, and I was like, oh, I resonate with that very highly. We'd had mutual places with like Lewis Mocker and those sort of things, and I've seen John DeMartini, met the guy actually, and I was like, oh, cool, like I love his methods. I think they're brilliant. And I was like, oh, sweet, and I didn't know how deep this is going to go. And now we're here. I'm like, actually, after our first session, I was like, yes, it's, what we think we need and what we actually need are quite different.
So you're saying that in 2 sessions, I mean, after this first session, you already mentioned what you're experiencing: less resistance, more flow, all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
not less resistance, but the resistance is still there. It's just not, you just kind of like take it and then keep moving through it. It's not like oh god, kind of like how it was before.
Going through it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're talking about needing to grow your business, more leads, more sales. But you're saying the work that we're doing without us going, hey, here's the sales strategy. Let's improve your sales process. Let's do lead gen.
Haven't touched the thing on sales process or strategy yet. Has not even been talked about.
And you're saying that you're getting more leads and things are just happening for you automatically because of who you're becoming?
Yes. Yeah, 110%. Like just in the last, 3 days? This will be the third day. In the last 2 days, I've seen, I'll call them a quantum shift, for lack of a better word. I've seen quantum shifts and leaps that I was like for example, that client, I mean, trying to get them to get an agency agreement and some other documentation for compliance done for 5 months or 4 months. It's the middle of this month will be 5 months. Literally got an email yesterday. Oh, hey, Jake, sorry it's taken so long. Here's the compliance documents.
So you're seeing firsthand that when you align yourself, your conscious and subconscious mind, and you align yourself as the authentic you're seeing that the external world is falling in alignment with that and things are going away.
Yeah, and I'm shocked by it, genuinely.
Like of what's happening as a result of you doing the internal work. I'm just a facilitator, right?
Yeah. But it's I, as much as you call yourself a facilitator, I'd call you like a shaman, right? Because I think facilitators are like those people that go into like big businesses and talk about like values and goals, and I think it's like, yeah, that's nice and all, but like when you're kind of digging into the subconscious, I think that requires more of a shamanic type perspective, not a facilitator type perspective. But yeah, and just the biggest difference is I just feel lighter. Like I just feel like things aren't as heavy as they were.
I love that. So for anyone who thought they need strategy or tactics to get in alignment and attract things to them, more money,
Mm,
more clients, more leads like you,
yeah.
what advice would you give them having done 2 sessions with me and seen the shift?
You probably do need more money and more clients, but that's just the surface level, and that's kind of like uh, the top level of what you think is the real problem. Um, it's like, for example, if you just say you've got a flat tire, right? You're driving in the road, you've got a flat tire, cars, nail in it, and all you do is you keep putting on new tires, but you're driving down a road of nails. It's like, well, you're gonna keep getting flat tires. Maybe we should go clean up the nails first before we continue on. That's probably the best analogy I can give for it. So you probably think you do need a new tire, and yes, you probably do. But you should probably clean the nails up first.
Wow. Clear those wounds, those subconscious
Yeah,
baggages,
I like that analogy.
charges.
You can borrow that one. I like that.
Remove the nail so that the tire can run smoothly. Patch it,
Yeah,
heal it, so that you can drive and get to the destination that you want.
yeah. But if you keep patching it, you're driving on a road of nails. You're just going to keep getting punctures. But if you clear the nails, it's like, well, we put a new tire on it, and right.